My dear fellow citizen, I am coming with the directive principles of state policy. This is first part of directive principles of state policy in the series of our constitution. Part 4 of the constitution, article 36 to 51, contains the directive principles of state policy. As shown in table 6, these principles may be classified under several groups. Certain ideals, particularly economic, which according to the framers of the constitution the state should strive for. Certain directions to the legislature and the executive intended to show in what manner the state should exercise their legislative and executive powers. Certain rights of the citizens which shall not be enforceable by the courts like the fundamental rights, but which the state shall nevertheless aim at securing by regulation of its legislative and administrative policy. It shall be at the duty of the state to follow these principles both in the matter of administration as well as in the making of laws. They embody the object of the state under the Republican Constitution, namely, that is to be a welfare state and not a mere police state. Sorry. Most of these directives, it will be seen, aim at the establishment of the economic and social democracy which is placed for the in the preamble. According to Sir Ivor Jennings, the philosophy underlying most of these provisions is Fabian socialism without the socialism, for only the nationalism of the means of production, distribution, exchange is missing. This much is clear, however, that our constitution as framed in 1949 did not adhere to any particular ism but sought to effect a compromise between individualism and socialism by eliminating the vices of unbridled private enterprise and interest by social control and welfare measures as far as possible. This is why socialistic pattern of society. This is why socialistic pattern of society, not socialism, was declared to be the objective of our planning by Pandit Nehru. Socialism to some people means two things: distribution, which means cutting off the pockets of the people who have too much money, and nationalization. Both these are desirable objectives, but neither is by itself socialism. Any attempt to distribute by affecting the productive machinery is utterly wrong. To do so, it would be to weaken ourselves. The basis of socialism is greater wealth. There cannot be any socialism of poverty. Therefore, the process of equalization has to be faced. Secondly, there is the question of nationalization. I think it is dangerous merely to nationalize something without being prepared to work it properly. To nationalize, we have to select things. My idea of socialism is that every individual in the state should have equal opportunity for progress. It must be mentioned in this context that the governmental policy at the union level has demonstrated a greater bias towards collectivism during the regime of his daughter, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, and quite a number of industries, trades, and other means of production were nationalized during the three decades since independence, either directly or through the agency of state-owned or state-controlled corporations. Banking, insurance, aviation, coal mines. It should, however, be mentioned that though the objective of the state has been described to be socialist by the amendment of the preamble by the 42nd Amendment Act, Mrs. Gandhi had said that this socialism did not indicate collectivism, but the offering of equal opportunities to all through socio economic reform. By the same amendment, certain other changes have been introduced in Part 4, adding new directives to accentuate the socialistic bias of the Constitution. Article 39A has been inserted to enjoin the state to provide free legal aid to the poor and to take other suitable steps to ensure equal justice to all, which is offered by the preamble. Article 43A has been inserted in order to direct the state to ensure the participation of workers in the management of industry and other undertakings. This is what is known as profit sharing. This is the positive step in advancement of socialism in the sense of economic justice. The Janata government sought to implement the promise of economic justice and equality of opportunity assured by the preamble by inserting clause 2 in Article 38 by the 44th Amendment Act 1978 as follows. The state shall in particular strive to maintain the inequalities in income and endeavor to eliminate inequalities in status, facilities and opportunities, not only amongst individuals but also amongst group of people residing in different areas or engaged in different vocations. This innocently looking amendment is to be read along with elimination of the fundamental rights to property. They have paved the way for confiscatory taxation and for equalizing salaries and wages for different vocations and different categories of works, which would usher in a socialistic society even without resorting to nationalization in the means of production. Article 38 enjoins the state to strive to promote the welfare of the people by securing and protecting as effectively as it may the social order in which justice, social, economic and political shall inform all the institutions of national life, striving to minimizing inequalities in income and endeavor to eliminate inequalities in status, facilities, opportunities among individuals and groups of people residing in different areas or engaged in different avocations. This is all about today's part of directive principles of state policy in the state in the series of our Constitution. Thanks, regards.